It was early January in 1970, and a group of 31 adventurers gathered in the cold, biting morning air for an expedition like no other. The day was gray and frigid, the snow crunching beneath their boots as they trudged toward their destination, the infamous Knox Cave. Their breath hung in the air like small clouds as they chatted nervously amongst themselves. Some excited, others slightly apprehensive. The cave had been long known for its treacherous terrain, and one feature in particular had gained it a reputation: the Gunbarrel. This is the horrific story of the Gunbarrel Passage. The Gunbarrel was a narrow, key-shaped tunnel that had become the defining challenge of the Knox Cave. It was just 18 inches wide and 60 feet long, a passage so tight that only the bravest or most determined explorers dared to enter. For many, crawling through the Gunbarrel was a test of strength, will, and endurance. It separated casual adventurers from those who truly understood the spirit of caving. To pass through it meant pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone, testing both your physical limits and mental resolve. But for some of the group, this was their ultimate goal: to make it through the Gunbarrel and reach the untouched, uncharted sections of the cave beyond. The group had prepared for the challenge, bundling up in layers of clothing to protect themselves from the bitter winter cold. The wind whipped through the trees as they hiked through the forest, their path blanketed in fresh snow. The trees towered above them, their bare branches creating an eerie, skeletal pattern against the sky. The trek to the cave's entrance was long, but their anticipation kept them going. The air grew colder as they neared the cave, the forest giving way to a large sinkhole, snow-covered and dark, like the cave's mouth waiting to swallow them whole. The group gathered at the entrance, each of them eyeing the tunnel ahead with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. It wasn't just a cave. It was a place of mystery and danger. The ground was cold beneath their feet, and the wind outside felt miles away compared to the still, damp air of the cave. One by one, they began to descend into the cavern, their flashlights casting flickering shadows on the rock walls as they ventured deeper. The air inside the cave was thick, heavy with the scent of damp earth and the faint sound of dripping water echoing through the hollow space. It was both peaceful and eerie at the same time. The group pressed on, their footsteps slow and deliberate on the slippery rocks. They moved in silence. The soft scuffling of boots, the only sound breaking the quiet. 19 of the group, including Peter, a 14-year-old boy, had decided to take on the Gunbarrel. This was Peter's first cave expedition, and despite his youth, he was eager to prove himself. He had heard the stories about the narrowness, the claustrophobia, and the challenge of the passage. But for Peter, it was a chance to be part of something bigger, to show that he could handle the pressure of something so intense and dangerous. He had been nervous at first, but as he watched the others ahead of him crawl through the tight opening, his excitement grew. Peter was a small, wiry boy, and as he observed the others crawl through, he felt a mix of awe and determination. Some of the group moved quickly with little hesitation, their bodies sliding through the tight spaces as if they had done it 1,000 times before. Others were slower, more cautious, inching their way forward and checking every movement before proceeding. Each one of them had their own approach to the challenge, but they all shared a common goal: to conquer the Gunbarrel and emerge on the other side. When it was Peter's turn, he took a deep breath, his heart racing in his chest. The air inside the passage was thick and musty, and the walls pressed in on him as he crawled through. The rock was rough, jagged, and cold, scraping against his skin as he used his elbows and knees to move forward. The tunnel was far tighter than he had imagined, and the air felt thinner with each movement. His body scraped against the walls as he inched along, the weight of the cave above him pressing down. His breathing grew shallow, his chest tightening as he pushed forward. It wasn't long before the tightness of the tunnel started to overwhelm him. His movements became more erratic, and his panic started to set in. Every few feet, he would stop and take a deep breath, trying to calm himself. But the tightness, the feeling of being trapped, made him feel like he couldn't breathe. He pressed on, determined to make it through. But just 8 feet from the end, disaster struck. As Peter crawled forward, trying to reach the exit, his knee slipped into a narrow crack in the floor. At first, he thought it was just a minor inconvenience. He would simply pull his knee free and continue. But when he tried to free himself, his knee was stuck fast. Panic shot through him like a bolt of lightning. He twisted and pulled, but no matter how hard he tried, his knee wouldn't budge. His heart pounded in his chest, his breath coming in short, desperate gasps. "Help!" he called out, his voice shaking with fear. Helping him crawl toward freedom. Once he was clear, the group behind him was able to crawl out one by one. They were all exhausted, cold, and shaken, but they were safe. Peter had sustained a fractured leg and bruises, and he was treated for hypothermia. After spending a few days in the hospital, he made a full recovery. The experience had been terrifying, but it had also taught him something about resilience and the strength of the human spirit. He would never forget the Gunbarrel and the people who had helped him survive the ordeal. If you found this story compelling, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more gripping tales from the underwater world. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What would you do in a situation like this? Until next time, stay safe, explore wisely, and always respect the depths.